Okay, so last time I made a rambling video, I said that I need to read some manuals, properly learn the modules, all the hidden functions, or at least the ones I need to know about. And today I'm gonna take a look at the Mutable Instruments Peaks. This is a clone, it's a DIY thing, somebody built it, I bought it secondhand, and it's been great. But I think it's a good example of something that has a lot more to offer than what it seems like at first glance. And I need to learn it. I don't know everything it has to offer. I dove into it a little bit, but let's see. So first look, it looks like a simple envelope maker ADSR thing, and that's essentially what it is. But it has a lot more things going on. So it has 4 modes: envelope, LFO, tap, and drum. And the envelope mode is exactly what you'd expect. It has an ADSR, so attack, decay, sustain, and release. Let's just start this clock here. So I have to have the Pamela clocking it, giving it triggers. You can also trigger it from here if you want to. But this makes things easier. So in case you don't know what this means, attack, decay, sustain, release, it's like a curve that you can shape, and it will then do various things depending on where you patch it. But the attack means how long does it take to come up. And now my trigger is too short. Let's see. We need to put some width in there. There you go. So if my trigger is too short and the attack time is too long, then it won't have time to build up. Like this. That's a long attack. And this is short. Now let's put the trigger back to minimum width. So it's just a plain trigger. It won't, like, it's the equivalent of holding a key down on a keyboard when you have a long trigger like that. It's essentially a gate. And then there's decay, which means how long will it take until the curve settles down into the sustain portion of this thing. But now my trigger is too short again, I think. Let's do this. There you go. If I have like that, I have a very tiny sustain, so it will drop down. This is now controlling the volume level of the plate's oscillator. So my sustain is very low. And now the decay is also very short, so it will quiet down really fast. This is the quite the opposite of that. And then we have the release. So it's like the tail end of the sound. We can make it longer like this. We need some sustain there. Like so. Or very short. Release. So that's very simple, right? Run-of-the-mill ADSR. But you also have the split mode. If I put this into the split mode, now the module has 2 channels. So right now we're listening to channel 1. We're going from the channel 1 out to the level. But we are triggering both of the channels from Pamela. And now that it's split, it means this is channel 1 attack and decay, and channel 2 attack and decay. Okay? And if it's not split, then these are shared by both channels. But there's also this thing called something. I think it's like a master mode or something. Whatever it's called. It's when you hold the split button for like a second or two. And now what this means is I can have ADSR for both channels individually, and this means I'm on channel 1 when it blinks once. I'm now controlling the channel 1. Press this, now it blinks twice. It means these are the controls for channel 2 now. So that's like the... maybe it's professional mode? I don't remember. Something like that. Then we have LFO. And this is just a low frequency oscillator. Very basic. I need to check the controls actually. Let's see the manual. Yeah, so expert. That's what the mode is called, expert mode. Twin mode is the basic mode where everything is shared. So this should be frequency of the... okay, yeah. Yep, that's definitely frequency. And this sounds like a sine wave. Let's see, yeah. So this is waveform control when we're in the LFO mode. We have sine, then we should have a linear slope. Yeah, that's the slope. And square. Faster. That sounds like a square. Or is this already steps? Yeah, this is square, I think. Square wave. No, wait, that was speed. Let's see. Sine. Is this slope? I think so. This is square. Yeah, square wave. Sine, linear slope, square wave. Then we have steps. What is steps? This is steps. And then we have random. No, wait. Random. Yeah, that sounds kind of random. And this one now, in this LFO mode, is waveform variation. And it depends on which waveform we are on, what it does. So for sine wave, which is this, it should have ascending triangle or descending balance for slope. Okay. Uh-huh. Well, that sounds wild. Okay, so it's like a variation for the waveform. And then for square, it has pulse width. That makes sense. It's easier to hear this in audible oscillator or like in a filter context. But I think we can, yeah. Now it's narrow. Now it's really wide. Okay. And then it's for steps, it's number of steps. Fewer steps, more steps, I guess. Sure. What does it do for random? A number of steps and interpolation method. Okay, so I guess probably has something to do with the randomization. I don't think I'm smart enough to tell you what that means. Somebody tell me in the comments. Interpolation method. I have no idea. Okay. And this is phase on restart. So when the LFO goes through a cycle and it gets No, wait, restart. So this input is now our restart. When we are on channel 1, this is the clock. It gets a pulse from here. And then this actually restarts it. Now we don't have a restart. That probably makes sense why it sounded a bit weird at times. Let's try that again. Steps. Random. Okay. Yeah, so you can restart the wave cycle from this input number 2. So even if the cycle is it's doing like a sine wave curve, even if it's in the middle of the curve, it will restart when it gets a trigger in this input, which we were doing just now from here. So this will now control the phase on restart, so at which position it starts again when it restarts, essentially. And if we split the LFO, then we have let's say frequency and waveform for each channel. Frequency waveform channel 1, frequency waveform channel 2. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And then I guess tap is just an LFO. Yeah, it's an LFO, but instead of this channel 2 input being a reset when you're controlling channel 1, it's like a tap tempo. And then we have drums. The drums are wild. We need to change the patch here, I think. Let's see, let's mute the oscillator and do some patching. Whoa, I had this loose. Need to tighten my screws, I guess. Okay, so both of the envelope outputs straight to the mixer and put the split off, put this on drums. Oh wow, we now have a drum machine. So it has like a kick and a snare. Let's put the width of the triggers on minimum. Okay, that sounds nice. So I guess this is like a frequency. Yeah, that's the bass frequency. Okay. Sure. And it's for both sounds, it seems like. And this is frequency modulation. So it's like, it says it's like a punch for the bass drum and tone for the snare. Sure, gets punchier, gets flubbier. Makes sense. And then we have high frequency content here. So it's like a tone for the bass drum and it makes the snare snappier, I guess. Yeah. And this is now... Oh wow, okay. Now it's like a hi-hat almost. And this is then decay. Huh? That's buggy. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, there's probably something wrong with this potentiometer. I think it has like a connectivity issue. Need to look at that. Now, yeah, that sounds right. So it's a short decay and a longer. Sure. And if we split this, then it's a tone and decay for channel 1, which is the kick, I think, and then tone and snappy for the channel 2. So let's see, this should be the snap of the snare. Yeah. Tone doesn't seem to do much. Okay, now it definitely does. And then tone of the kick. Decay of the kick. This doesn't seem to do much. Let me know if this is broken or if that's just how it is. If you have this module. Oh, okay, but these are pretty good sounds. Totally usable. But then okay, but then we have this alternative mode. So if you hold this function button again for like a second or two, we get into an advanced mode of sorts. So now the drum selection is, let's take the split out. Now the drum section is actually an FM drum. Let's see. What's the manual say about the controls? Frequency? Makes sense. FM intensity. Okay. Then FM and AM envelope decay. And this is color. So 12 o'clock should be no modification. Sounds pretty wild. I wonder what this is doing actually. Okay. Yeah, I think this pod is unhinged. I need to take care of that. Okay. Sure. So now I guess we need to, for the other modes, we need to patch again because they're probably not sound sources. But it's pretty nice that in a envelope generator of sorts you have two sources of like two drum kits essentially. Oh, and there's another feature here, I think. If I split this, it's completely different again. Yeah, so now this is like bass drum presets morphing. Oh yeah, it's different. Sure. Sounds good. And this is preset variations, it says. And same thing, morphing and variations. I wonder if this is like a, yeah, I figured it's like an 808 type sounds. Yeah, sounds familiar. Okay. Let us then get back to, let's see, if we go to envelope and then we patch. Again, let's take channel 1 from here. Put it back to the level. Get some volume in there. What should we have in this position? And why is it so quiet? Manual, help me. Okay. So we have step sequencer. Okay, so this is a step sequencer. Is that right? Is this a reset then? Yes. Exactly what it is, it seems like. Okay, so we're controlling the level. We should be going to the pitch, so volt per octave. Okay, now we're doing it. Yep, it's a step sequencer now. That's funny. So that's that. If I split it, then it becomes two sequencers of 2 steps. 2 steps for each channel. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Right now it's just a 4-step sequencer, and I guess you can take 2 copies. Oh, of that sequence. Okay, don't know why it's doing that, but it sounds fun. LFO, what is this now in the crazy mode? Oh god, what is it doing? Help me. Alternative LFO. Pre-delay, gate duration, delay, number of repeats. Okay, so this is a trigger, delay, / shaper. Okay, but now I think, because it's a trigger, I should control the volume of this instead of pitch. What were the controls again? Pre-delay, okay. Gate duration, let's do short gates. That's fun. This is number of repeats. Yeah, 1 repeat. Lots of repeats. Delay. Is this like a delay between the repeats? And this is pre-delay, so maybe before the repeats? Oh, that's that sounded like Meshuggah. That's great. I love this. I love this module. Gate duration. Yeah, no, it's a really long gate, so you don't hear the... That's cool. Okay. What's the tap mode? The tap mode is now stream randomizer. Okay. Sounds cool. Probability of the trigger. Okay, so this is maximum probability. And when you tone this down, it will skip some of the triggers from here. Sure. Yeah, I like that. And then this is the probability that the trigger is regenerated after the delay. And this is the delay time. Okay, so you can also randomize it this way. It will skip triggers and it will sometimes repeat triggers. And this is jitter, whatever that does. I guess it makes it more unstable, but in what way? What parameter does it jitter? The delay, maybe? It gets pretty random, it seems. That's cool. That is cool. You can do lots of things with this. But I think that's all of the functions. We already went through the last mode, which was the FM drum. Okay. I think there's also some alternative firmwares for this module. I haven't really looked into them, but maybe I will. But I think I have a good grasp now of what this module can do, and it's a lot more than I initially thought. I thought I was getting an envelope shaper or maker that can also double up as an LFO. But to be honest, I had no idea it will also do drums. When I saw the drum text on the bottom right here in the fourth mode, I thought it was like a trigger mode for triggering a drum module of some sort, but it actually makes drum sounds. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, but I think that's all about the peaks for now. If there is a module here on display that you would like me to go through, you can leave a comment and I will try to do that. I aim to do most of these like this if I have the time. My time is a bit limited, but I do mean to do that, except for maybe the Pamela, because it's very digital and menu driven, and it does so many things that it gets overwhelming really quick. It's almost like a computer. Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.